Welcome to the Rue Papers. No, not today. I know I pressed the record button, but that was just accidental, Finn. Just muscle memory. I give up. I'm not doing it. I'm taking a day off. I put it on an annual leave spreadsheet and everything. I am going to sit in the park, in the sunshine, and drink some Coke, and reassess my life choices. Specifically, why I am apparently in thrall to supernatural entities and or people from the past. I should be at the club. Well, maybe not the club, but somewhere nice and ordinary. Do you hear that? Basement? There is a world elsewhere. Coriolanus, I think. Or possibly one of the Dark Tower books. Either way, I'm off. Do you have anything to say about that? No whispering? No strange knocking? A music box, possibly. Don't know why I said music box. I've never heard one down here. Well, right then. I'm off.
Good afternoon, Bee.
Oh, bollocks. There's no escape, is there?
I don't know. I never tried.
Really, Rose? You never thought, sod this, I'm off to have a perfectly ordinary life elsewhere. Somewhere not here.
Once, perhaps, someone suggested. I just wanted to check with you, Bee. I know it's been a difficult few weeks, and I am so glad that you stayed. It's been a great help to me.
You mean my blood and your blood combining together to open a doorway beyond this world to the next and letting the spirits of the dead to possess the living? Or do you mean someone who can cover the issues desk on those busy Saturday afternoons?
Both, I think. But I am grateful you allowed me to help you stop it. I don't think I ever quite realised the truth of what was going to happen. I didn't understand it. When you were brought up a certain way, it can be very difficult to believe that everything you were taught was wrong. I'm so grateful to you for opening my eyes.
That's fine. I'm, sorry your family turned out to be evil, megalomaniacal bastards.
Well, so am I. But I know better now. They used me as much as they used anyone. As much as they used you.
You used me. Not them. You. Personally.
Yes, I suppose I did. I was trained well.
You owe me.
Yes, I know.
So tell me a story. I know you have one, Rose. Let's record it. Then I'll have a little piece of you right here in my computer.
If I tell you one, will you trust me?
Let's see, shall we? Make it a good one. This is a story from Rose Ellington, who will tell us, Finn, when she was most afraid. She will hold nothing back, not even if it reflects badly on her. Isn't that right, Rose?
If you insist.
Oh, I very much do insist. Rose, I need it. Finn needs it. So start at the
You don't
beginning.
need to tell me how to tell a story, Bee. This one happened on a train a few years ago. It was not long after a previous librarian died, Rebecca Stone, and I admit her death had made me question certain things. Perhaps I should explore the world outside my library, I thought. I knew I belonged here, but I didn't have to stay here all of the time. I wanted to expand my horizons a little. So I took an art class in central London each Thursday evening. I knew nothing about art, really, and I wasn't very good. But it was away from here, quite far away. The class had started in the winter, which meant every Thursday, as I came home, it was dark. I took the train back. The journey was, about an hour, and it was always very quiet. It was an odd time of day to be travelling. Too late for office workers, too early for partiers and the theatre crowd. Often it would just be me in the carriage. Occasionally there'd be a few people that had worked late or leaving their night early, tourists half asleep heading back to their hotel. But most of the time it was just me, and I liked it like that. I'd sit in the corner of the carriage, always the same seat, and look out of the window at all the houses passing by. They would have their lights on, and I could see inside all of their lives. I could see them talking and watching the TV and dancing and cooking dinner. It was... No, I don't need to tell you, do I? You understand what it is to see what you can never have. There was one particular block of flats, huge and very close to the tracks, that I loved to watch. The train always slowed down at that point, and I could see into the windows very easily. I remember there was one flat that was absolutely tiny, but with a disco ball chandelier, and another that had a huge TV screen, big enough that I could see it from the train. There was a man who was always practicing dance moves, and a woman who always seemed to be cooking something. And some of them were alone, and some of them had people with them, and they had bright homes that they had chosen for themselves, and posters of the plays that they'd seen and the music that they liked, and they danced and read and watched and lived. You may think these were small little lives, but they were their lives. I used to look forward to it, to tell the truth. Every time I went to my class, I thought about seeing those flats and seeing those lives on the way home. I suppose it was envy, in a way, but I didn't resent them. I just wanted to see. The point where the flats were on the line was where the train went over some points, so the lights in the carriage would flicker on and off. I suppose that's what drew the attention of the people in the flats, because they started to look back at me. There was this little girl, her bedroom was full of pictures of unicorns. She even had a unicorn light shade. She looked up and she saw me, and she waved. I didn't know what to do. I looked away quickly, ashamed, I think. I'd been caught looking. But the week after, she waved again, and I waved back. She waved every week, and I think other people saw me waving to her, and perhaps they thought I was waving to them. The dancer waved at me with a slightly puzzled, abstracted air, and the woman cooking would wave her spoon, dripping with sauce, at me. Oh, you have to understand, Rebecca. I was lonely. I'd always been lonely, but never knew. And now I had a friend, and I had lost her. And I realised I was bone deep sick with loneliness. My family had long gone, and the people I worked with, well, they were colleagues, nothing more. So those flats, those people waving at me, they became my lifeline. A reminder that I was human and existed, and some people, at least that little girl, could see me, could wave at me, wanted to wave at me, to acknowledge I existed. Me, not as a daughter or a manager or someone with a terrible fate ahead of them. Just me, the woman on the train. I might have become a little obsessed. You understand by now. My upbringing wasn't exactly normal. I was very isolated and had very little knowledge of the world outside. I hadn't even really been allowed to watch TV or listen to the radio. Even my books had been carefully chosen for me, and they were mostly very old. I was endlessly curious about how other people lived, what they did with their time, what the meaning of their lives were. And in that block of flats, I could see my answers. I could see life. The kind of life I never had, but found that I wanted. My need to see them got so intense that I found when the classes ended, I was heartbroken at the thought of not seeing them again. I told myself it was silly. They wouldn't notice. They wouldn't care. Then I thought about the little girl who waved at me every time and thought perhaps she cared. Perhaps she'd notice. So I decided to go back. I'd make one last journey to say goodbye to them all. I was so excited when I got on the train. It was high summer by now, and the skies light until late at night. And I realised this was the first time I'd see them in daylight. I sat at the edge of my train seat, my hands bunched in my pretty dress I'd worn for the occasion, peering out of the window, longing to see them. We got to the stop before, and then the side beside them, and then nothing. Just a huge swatch of land. No flats, no building, no people. No little girl waving at me. Instead, there were allotments and a park and a car park, and they'd obviously been there a long time. I thought perhaps I'd got to the wrong place, as I'd been approaching from my home and not the classes. That was it. I decided I'd been looking out of the wrong side. I caught the train back, and I looked again, knowing what I was looking for. Nothing. Those flats had gone. I travelled back and forth all night, searching for a glimpse of something, anything that could be those flats, but there was nothing. It was long past midnight when I made my final journey, and the train was empty. I'd given up hope by then. The train was held on the points by the place where the flats were. I'd given up by then. You know, the kind of life I had. A phantom block of flats that disappeared in daylight wasn't exactly a shock to me. But it was a disappointment. They had been mine, all mine, and now they were gone. They weren't ordinary at all. They were another part of the life I had been trying to escape. And their loss, well, it hurt. It hurt so badly. The lights in the carriage flickered on and off, and I sat there, crying softly to myself. That's when I saw her. As the light flashed on, I couldn't see her at first. My eyes were full of tears and my vision all blurry. But I blinked, and she was there, the little girl from the flat, staring at me. In my carriage, my empty carriage, in front of me. And I was so delighted to see her. I broke the most important rule. I said hello and held out my hand to her. I welcomed her in. She just watched me. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't anything. She just looked at me. The lights flickered off, and when they came back on again, she'd moved a little closer. No, not moved. I didn't see her move. She just was closer. And now she was smiling. Not a little girl's smile. She smiled at me like a hunter that had found its prey. That's when I knew that I was in trouble. I stepped back as far as I could go, but the door to the next carriage was locked. The lights flickered again, and she was closer, and now I could see blood on her mouth, blood on her teeth, and she was cooing softly, like you do with a frightened animal you want to tempt towards the axe. The light kept flickering, and every time they did, she came that little closer, and I understood now. Those lights, those flats, those lives had been a trap designed especially for me. Something wanted to feed off me, and it had gone into my mind and worked out exactly what I needed to end up here alone on this train at midnight with her. Don't, I cried out. Whatever I did wrong, I won't do it again. She laughed then, a little triumphant laugh, and reached out to me, a tiny hand full of claws. She was going to take me. She was going to rip out my heart and eat it. And I wonder how many others she had done this to. How many travellers longing for a glimpse of another life she had tempted, their hearts full of sorrow and pain at the loss after all those weeks would have tasted so sweet to her. She reached for me, and I could read the grin on her face. Too late, I won't let you go. I wasn't talking to you, I told her viciously, because she didn't know who she had chosen. She had no idea I was an Ellington. She didn't know who I am. I felt her hand on mine, felt her nails break my skin, felt the first few drops of blood drawn from me and seep into her skin. And then she screamed. Nothing had hold of her. Something lifted her up into the air and tore at her, ripped her apart, ripped her to pieces, and took its time doing it. And I sat down and listened, stayed still as the train brought me home, back to Ellington Library. So you see, Bea, I'm protected, whether I want to be or not. Out there, I am a target for all kinds of monsters, and I don't mean the dead, Bea. I mean monsters, because there are monsters in this world, and I attract them. Just like you attract the dead. I attract monsters. But my blood keeps me safe. I have monsters of my own.
So you're protected? That's the point of this story.
I am. I am kept safe.
But what about me? I'm caught up in this story too, as much as you. What keeps me safe?
For the moment, I do. But no doubt you have protectors of your own. But that really wasn't the point of the story. I wanted to make you see, Bea, that it costs me helping you. I have rules I ought to be following. I may be punished for breaking those rules. This is not just a question of doing the right thing. Obviously, my conception of what is the right thing has changed, and that is entirely down to you, Bea. If you think about it, those that protect me might even consider you a threat. But you needn't worry. I won't let them get to you.
Rose, are you threatening me?
No, of course not, dear. I'm merely making a few facts known to you. Awareness helps, don't you find? Now, I must go on with my day, and you must find a story to record.
Rose, you called me Rebecca in that story. Who's Rebecca?
The one before you. She worked here. She had the voice and, yes, she told stories.
What happened to her?
She died, Bee. Just like they all do. The Ellingtons are protected. Did my story not make that clear?
Oh, it's clear, all right, Rose. It's very, very clear. Thank you for listening to the Rue Papers. Written, created, and performed by Emma Butler, with Natalie Dorick as the voice of Rose. Please do check out her excellent and very creepy podcast, Weird in the Wade. And remember, listener, some stories should not be told, but those are exactly the kind of stories you should ask for. Who knows what you might find out?